The majority of even the GOP under 50 years old are negative on Israel, and the majority of Americans are now negative on Israel. Where do you see this going in 10 years? Is the support for Israel going to collapse?
I think that Israel has normalized itself. You see, Israel had benefited because of historical facts like the Nazi Holocaust, but also the exploitation of those facts by the Israel lobby, including and especially its domestic constituent, the American Jews. It had covered Israel with an aura of being somehow different, that you couldn't hold Israel to the same standards as any other country because of the history and because of the exploitation of that history. I think in the last 10 or 15 years, and especially since October 7th, Israel has normalized itself. That is to say, people are no longer willing, despite the historical fact and despite the exploitation of the Nazi Holocaust, because of the horror that has unfolded, people are no longer willing to hold Israel to a separate standard. It's now, they're Israelis. It's not the Holocaust. It's not the aura. It's just, they're Israelis like any other state. There's a Israel, there's a Germany, there's a France, there's a Somalia. It's just like any other state. That state happens to be committing genocide, and we're not going to support it. So it's become a normal state. And a normal state that commits genocide, you don't support it. You don't support a normal state that commits genocide. And now that Israel has been normalized, people are reacting on what they see. And what they see is unbearable. It was interesting for me. The other day I was on the Katie Halper show, and she brought up on the screen, it was Chuck Schumer speaking on The View, okay? And he's promoting his new book, Anti-Semitism in America. And then he says, a lot of people don't take the attacks on Jews seriously, the claim that there's a new anti-Semitism in the US. He says, but you don't understand. Every Jew carries on his back 5,000 years of Jewish suffering. And you could just see the women on the panel, if I can use the expression, rolling their eyes inside. They're not going to do it with their heads erect. But he's starting with that again. It was striking to me how tone deaf he was. He doesn't understand that just doesn't play anymore. That just doesn't work its magic like it used to. He doesn't understand that in the face of what's happening now in Gaza, maybe that's not the right tune to be playing. And the other thing that struck me was, the difference in age between me and Chuck Schumer is only 4 years. But it was as if he were 90 years old. He's reading from a playbook that is old. It doesn't work anymore. And that's what I think the polls show. Israel has normalized itself as a state, and this normal state happens to be committing genocide. And just like we don't like other states that commit genocide, we don't like this state.
We will see in Baker's.
Yeah, man. So definitely like what Normal Finkelstein was saying here, guys. So there's definitely been an awakening, especially in the West in general, America, to the influence that the Israeli lobby has had on our politics in regards to wars that have been fought in the past, which people can trace no really practical reason other than the defense of that country there. And, a lot of people in America are starting to wake up. They're starting to wake up to the realization that this relationship is not beneficial. It's not a two-way streak, man. And so you got to understand, though, there has to be a differentiation between Israelis, Jews, and Zionists. Okay, not all Jews are Israeli. Not all Jews are Zionist. Not all Zionists are Israeli. Not all Zionists are Jews, right? Lindsey Graham. Not all Israelis are Jewish or Zionist. A lot of Israelis are secular. So people are starting to realize that there's this big division there, right? That being Israeli doesn't necessarily mean that that they're representative of every Jew around the world, right? So yeah, man. Shout out to Norman Finkelstein and Jimmy Dore. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.